Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
We are back for our season 2 ending broadcast this evening. Um, we do not have any guests. I've run out of guests. Krampus put a block on all of my future guests.
Because he wants them to be nice for the rest of the year.
It's hard to top it when you have on, and in a season when you got like Chris McKinnell on and Santa and Krampus. I mean, that's pretty hard to top that. So I'm gonna have to step my game up next year. But like said, this will be the last broadcast of the year. We will pick it up again New Year. If you guys have anything you want to talk about tonight, go ahead and chime in and let us know. I got to put the comments up. Sorry. This is going to be kind of a free for all. So if there's anything you want to discuss, put it in the comments. Until then, I do have a couple things I got to discuss, but go ahead and put it in the comments and we'll get back to it. Because otherwise, it's going to be a real short show. We really don't have much planned for this evening. I was in a cool old house today that I was surprised they said there was no ghosts in.
Really?
Yeah. It was right on the river. It used to be
Which
the
river?
the Maumee River.
Well, you have to say because there's lots of rivers around
Well, I
here.
was going to say in Waterville. There's only one.
Well, okay. Well, you know.
But anyway, it used to be the old Riverby Hills golf course clubhouse.
I'm surprised there wasn't a lot. I mean, because you've had some sensitivity issues going on, so I'm surprised you didn't feel anything.
Well, one, she's a professor,
Mm-hmm.
and he just looks like a very engineering-minded individual. So, like, there's probably not a lot of openness to it. There's, probably
That
not
doesn't
a
mean
lot of
it's
belief.
not there.
Yeah, but if
You come in with your little spidey senses, it should have went like, ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding, ding.
no, my arms are going ding, 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 ding because I got a pinched nerve in my
Yeah.
neck. So
Oh, you can see
I want
Bubba
to
back
know
there
how Barry
making
is
me feel
doing now that he
guilty.
has moved.
Did you see him? Look at him. Look
What?
at him. Look at.
Oh
look
yeah,
At, there's Bubba.
he's looking at us.
He's like, feed me.
Yeah.
He already was fed, but he just wants more treats. So
Yeah, so Sue wants to know how Barry is doing. Barry is doing fine. He's in the backyard. I wanted to put him in the front yard, but I have a bad feeling somebody will steal him.
yeah, I feel bad because he would. We have in our front yard. We have like where a small little tree used to be, and it's like round. There's like some round cement barrier. He would look perfect there, sitting on the little podium that's up there. But I know, and I mean, and it's not like we live in a bad neighborhood. But I'm just because he's so dang cute, somebody would come swipe him.
Yeah.
And it would probably be somebody drunk trying to swipe him, and then they would realize how heavy he is.
Yeah, they drop
and then
him
he would
break
drop
him in
them
the
and
street.
break them. So yeah, so it's like I'm figuring that he would be kind of.
But you'll
Aaron,
be
I'll give him pets.
but you'll be happy to know that in order for his powers to work, he has to be pointed southeast, which just so
with an
happens
orange
that
light on him.
which your house just so happens to line up with the perfect astral
Yeah,
projection
and
for Barry.
no, he has
so
to have orange lights coming from the ground.
he's keeping an eye on you. We should put cameras in his eyes and security cameras for the street. That'd be kind of
That would be funny. But yeah, you see, and then we could actually, because if we're sitting this way, if you would do them this way, that would be the perfect location, going that way. So
See, this is a perfect example in the comments. I spend hours and hours doing videos.
yeah,
The dogs come in for 3 seconds, and what do they get? Everybody wants to see the dogs. Where is Boo?
Boo
She
is
over
somewhere. I think they may have left the room for a minute. No, Bubba's behind me.
Yeah. Okay, so
Bubba's right there. I have no idea where
we
Boo
don't know
is.
where Boo is.
That's scary.
Usually,
that we don't know
usually
where
that
Boo
means
is.
she's
In trouble.
eating toilet paper out of the bathroom.
Yeah.
So I guarantee we'll probably go into the bathroom after the show and
Blueberries.
find a pile of eaten tissues on the floor. Yay. So
Okay.
yeah, I did. Okay, so you kind of mentioned it. I'll go ahead and talk about this. I had a psychic moment last week,
Mm-hmm.
and most people
First
know
time.
I'm as sensitive as a. No, it's not the first time.
First time that he
definitely very
admits
rare.
it.
Yep. So I was doing a job, and the lady that it's people that I've worked for before, like actually several times. And last Christmas, her father-in-law passed away on Christmas Day, which
That's weird.
say a prayer for that family this year, because that's got to be really, really tough to, have that happen on Christmas Day. So, and I was working out there last year when it happened, and this and that, and the other thing. So she was describing to me she was going to go to a message circle with a medium, and the session was going to have about 8 or so people in it. I think it was 3 hours or something like that. And so she told me that before she went, and I was like, be careful with those. They're sometimes, a lot of times they're legit, but a lot of times, it's people that want to make money and blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah. So so then I went back to work over there 2 days later, and she tells me about her experience with the with that medium circle, and her father-in-law had I don't think it was a heart attack, but it was some heart related thing that made him pass away last year. And so she was,
I think it was like an aneurysm or something.
yeah, I think so.
It was an
That sounds more right.
aortic aneurysm, I think, what happened.
But anyway, so the medium right off the bat, she told the people, she says, I don't know if I'm gonna, come in contact with who you want, or I pick on whatever spirits you bring in with you or whatever comes here. So first thing the lady says, I guess, is, everybody sits down, they start, and she's like, oh man, I feel like, my chest is hurting. I feel like, maybe somebody had a heart problem or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, 1 out of 8 people, or, 8 people in a room, I guarantee at least 1 or 2 people have had someone pass away because of a heart issue or something like that. So of course my client raises her hand, and she's like, yeah, that's I don't know if she said my father-in-law passed away, but she said, yeah, we can relate, or, something like that. So anyway, she keeps getting more, the medium keep getting more detailed about certain things of the funeral, certain things that happen at the home that no one else would know about. So, it's definitely looking like it's legit. So as I'm talking to her, this Christmas card falls off the door right behind her. And I saw it. I'm like, I guess it was farther back, more behind her than I thought it was, because I thought, how do you not see that? But so after we get done talking, I said, well, so anyway, I got to step back just 1 second. So after that happened, I got the most tingling, buzzy, like, you cannot convince me that her father-in-law was not standing right next to me, and he kept telling me to tell her that was me. I did that. He wanted me to specifically say that to her. And I'm thinking, like, even though we were talking about mediums and stuff like that, I'm thinking she's going to think I'm nuts. It's the 2-minute thing. Yeah, turn that off. So it's like, I'm not going to tell her that, because she's going to think I'm nuts. And the whole time, and I felt bad about it, like all day and the rest of that evening. I was like, I really, really should have said something, because,
it would have made her feel bad. I think it would have.
Yeah, but see, I didn't want to put her in that awkward moment where then she's crying.
Yeah.
And, it's.
Yeah. And it's hard sometimes knowing when to say something and when. I know that she probably would have really been touched that was happening. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you don't want to have her get all mushy on you.
That, and I would have been, I guess maybe the way that because I'm as skeptical as I am about certain things.
Now, if I was there, I would have said something.
Yeah, but I probably, like, if somebody would have said something like that to me, I probably would have thought, okay, what are you trying to get out of me? Because you just had like a heartfelt connection moment, that kind of thing. I know. So I didn't want her to think I was trying to, like, tug at her heartstrings.
Yeah, I shouldn't say that I would have told her, because you have to kind of read how the person, what their situation, their mindset is, and you have to kind of read it before I would actually, because there's things that I feel like
it's definitely,
I won't say to people.
I
but
definitely
then other
feel
times
I
I'll be like, hey, yeah,
I should have, and it would have been okay too. But she would have bawled, because she was on the edge right there. Yeah. Adam's in here, I see. What do you think? Should I have said something to her, or did I do the right thing by keeping it to myself? Because I do know a lot of times too, that was a good experience with a medium. She was communicating with somebody that she wanted to, and somebody that she loved, and somebody that was good, and all that other stuff. But, there's a lot of times where mediums have come into places that we've gone and have almost convinced the person of a haunting. Like, so, let's say the person has things going on in their house already. Well, then this medium comes in with new things.
Come on.
She's like, what?
Okay, come here. No,
so then
you gotta come. No, not that way. Over here. Come here.
So then the medium will come in with some new things, and, like, actually,
there you go.
I've seen it where they scare the crap out of people. Hi, boo. I've seen it where they scare the crap out of people, like, and I'm sure I've told this story before, but the one lady had a friend who was a sensitive, tell her that there was a man that watched over her as she slept every night, standing in the corner of the room. That wasn't even one of her claims before the medium came over.
No.
It was like, so I mean, like, I don't know, Adam. There's another. Okay, Adam says it's a tough call. I tend to hold it because you can freak people out. Yeah.
Like I said, I would always. I mean, if I knew the person well enough to know it's not going to do, then I probably would say something. But if I don't, I probably wouldn't say anything.
Both the girls say everybody wants to see Boo. So I mean, I don't know. I guess with me, like I said, mediums definitely have a role, and some people call a medium in because they want to know things like that. But I just don't know that it's. Man, I tell you what, you better make damn sure. Like you can't be. I don't think a novice medium.
What?
Quit it. Or somebody that's sensitive.
Ow!
Should be in telling people things like that about their house. Boo.
Okay, Boo might have to get blocked out because that really hurt.
We gotta remove Adam's comment so everybody can see Boo. Come here, Boo.
Okay,
That's another thing too, that every Thursday when we do this show, there's a WrestleMania mat over there to the left that the dogs think it's wrestle time.
But
so
Boo's getting a little vicious over here, and she actually hurts.
Let's see what our resident medium has to say. Yes, Dana, if you know them, it's easier for sure. But when it's in public, it's hard to jump in and say, hey, this person is saying this. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, I would. If it's somebody I didn't know, I would never, ever say anything.
Yep.
And I don't have it happen often enough. And usually, actually, ironically funny, I think it happens to people. When I do have it, it's to somebody I know. I might not know them really well.
Mhm.
If it's somebody I don't know really well, I won't say anything. But if it would be somebody I really know well, then I would say something. Just because you can get a grasp
and I
on
think
it.
too, this is kind of a critical statement, but I don't think this isn't a statement that bashes mediums. But I do think there's a lot of, and I'm not even going to say mediums because I think there's sensitive, medium, and then there's different tiers. But I think a lot of sensitives are almost overconfident in their abilities and what they say to people sometimes.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to reveal something like that to somebody, you better be right. Like
now,
you better freaking be right.
We can relate this to my work situation right now because I train. I'm the trainer at my work. And being a sensitive, it's like when I meet somebody for the first time, I get a vibe on them, and it's like either good, positive, good vibes, or it's like not so much.
Well, dogs do it too.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, people say if someone comes
Boo's
into your house
Bubba's
in your dog, unless your dog goes after everybody, but if your dog doesn't like someone that they normally like everybody, you probably shouldn't have them in your house. But go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, but Bubba's like that. He does that. But so when I meet, because I don't interview these people. I get them the first they come into orientation. I don't meet them the day of orientation. I get their information the day they have orientation. I get their stuff at the end of the day, so I can prepare for the next day for my training. I will tell you, there was a couple before I started being the trainer. There was a couple that I said, I just get a bad vibe. They're not going to make it. They've been gone. Same thing though. Every time I train, I can tell who's going to have issues and who's not. And it's a vibe read. And usually the ones that I get don't know about this one usually ends up being I was right kind of thing. So but I never said, well, actually I did say it one time to my boss. I said, I am not getting a good vibe on this person and I don't think she's going to make it. And she only lasted a few weeks.
But I think, but that's something too. Like even I would get that. Is that like a sensitive moment to where everybody has it, uses it, trusts it, but doesn't necessarily call it a gift. You know what I'm saying?
Well, everybody is sensitive. It's just if you
Jerry, that's not true. Your dog loved me last time I was over there.
It's just if you act on it, and if you want to enhance.
But see, that's okay. So like, I wouldn't trust my sensitive moments at a client's house, like in a paranormal setting or anything like that. But my intuition on people, I trust that without even thinking of it.
But that's pretty much the same thing.
But that's what I'm saying. Why don't I trust the other one? So I must be making a conscious effort to
probably
shut it off or not trust it.
Probably.
So anyway,
Yeah. So I mean, I like I said, I wouldn't say ever, but like I get the reading and
Yeah.
like in public, that's my big thing in public. That's why, like, this is terrible, but lately I don't like going in public, which you know me.
I hate Myers.
Yeah, Jeff hates Myers. But I mean,
oh my God.
compared to how social I used to be about going out, I mean, I used to love going like everywhere.
Some of that though is pandemic related because
Some
it
of
got
it
weird.
is.
Like, I mean, that's definitely for
Yeah,
me when I
I
started
know.
being.
I know I'm more anxious since
Yeah.
we had that when we had the close down. Since then, I am more anxious than I used to be.
Yep.
But like a lot of PTSD stuff comes back to me. Like I notice little triggers more than I used to. But when I'm in public with certain things, and I just don't. Amazon has been my friend because I'd rather shop on Amazon than go to a store to go shopping.
I kind of get like a creepy feeling if I even think about like going to a concert, being in a crowd like that. Whereas, I used to go to a lot of concerts.
Well,
and
we
things
used
like that.
to. I mean, we used to go to musicals, plays, everything, and since
crowds just
since the pandemic, we have not done any of that. And so we've done one or two things.
Yeah, a couple.
But we've done a couple things, but nothing that was as what we would have normally done.
Yeah, well, nothing really is even open up to crowds.
Yeah.
I mean, movie
but
theaters
yeah,
and stuff
for those crowds. Before though, I used to have issues with crowds where I would get overwhelmed with the crowds. But now it's just I really can't stand. And it's not even so much crowds; it's just being around people. I mean, it makes it really hard to be around people. So
Aaron said it. Boobies. We used to have a thing when I was with another team. Actually, let me say this first. So, a couple of people have come in since I've said this, but it's kind of an open forum night. Like, so if you have any questions or anything like that, go ahead and post them in the comments and we'll answer them. But just another little quick story. Aaron said boobies, which we had
boo.
Yes.
For boo.
But one of the things that we had a rule, like if anybody did an interview or anything like that, one of the first teams I was in, that we had to slip in the phrase ghost boobies. We had to say that at some point. So yeah, that was kind of fun.
No.
8 p.m. about a week ago. I forgot what. Okay. So Dan looks like has a. I think I heard about that. No, I didn't see that.
I don't remember about it.
Did anyone see the perfectly straight line of lights go through the sky southwest to northeast around 8 p.m. about a week ago? He forgot what night it was. I remember I didn't see it, but I do remember people talking about it. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Dan throw it up in the comments that like what people think it was, or is there any videos of it or anything like that? So
yeah.
So while we're waiting for more questions too, I'm just going to show, I think I showed this last week at the very end when no one was watching, but I had somebody I know, and I don't want to give away details of who it is and things like that, sent me a video, and it's a video of a jar kind of flying across the room. You can hear it in the video. So I enhanced the spot that you're supposed to look at, but I'm going to play the raw clip and then I enhanced it. So let's watch this and tell me what y'all think about this. Okay, so that's the end. So, did you see what I saw in there? What did you see?
Well, I already know what it is.
I know, but what did you see?
So when I say I mean at the bottom you see some kind of movement, which there's some movement there, but then you see something kind of flash in the thing. To me, when I first saw it, I was like, "Oh, look! It looks like something's moving down there." And then at the front, and then it just looked like somebody was waving. So
to me, it looks like someone like sticks their hand in the doorway and almost uses the force on, because as soon as they go like this, the jar on the other side of the doorway falls, it bounces and hits the floor and then rolls across the room.
Yeah. And it's weird because the video doesn't do it justice. I mean, if you see it actually, it looks better when you see it firsthand.
The raw video looks like you can actually see the hand in the raw video if you're looking for it on a bigger screen.
Yeah.
Like you can't see it on your phone or anything like that.
No,
but, if
but
you
on
put it
on the computer screen or TV screen, you can see it, and it's obvious that that jar does fall and rolls on its own. But there is something that looks like a hand. To me, it looked like somebody just kind of was like, "Hey," and then come back. But
and Jerry brings up a good point. You know, it goes back to, do you trust the person providing the video, because anything can be faked?
And Jeff does trust
absolutely
that person.
Trust this person. They're not.
Dan, what?
They didn't. Yeah, I'll replay it again, Don. But they didn't send it to me because they wanted me to post it on Facebook or anything like that. They just thought
it was interesting.
They know that I'm into paranormal stuff. They don't watch the ghost shows. They're not ghost hunters, none of that stuff. You know, so like they're not the type of people that would fake it. Plus, I've known them, like I've literally known this girl for, I don't even know how old she is now, but when she was a 2-year-old, she was sitting on my lap as a kid, and now she's, you know, married with a kid of her own. So
let's play it again, because it looks like Dan missed it too.
Okay, so here we go. Let's play. Take 2. So there it was again. I mean, like I said, the raw video is a lot clearer if you're able to watch it on a bigger screen. You can actually see the jar hit and move in the raw video, and then you can barely see the hand. But then when I zoomed it, I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what made the difference too. When like I said, on the bigger screen you can see it, and when you do it here, it's harder. And even in the zoom, it's a little, because it's so kind of.
Yeah. Don and Dan, you guys are both skeptical. Tell me what you guys think of it. Maybe Don just did. Supposed to have to know who it was. Who was
actually there was nobody in there.
Yeah, no. So okay, I do know the setup of it too, because like I said, they're friends of mine, and I cut out part of the video because the owner definitely doesn't want to be shown on Facebook. And yeah, it is hard to see, Don, but you can, when you watch it on a bigger screen 14 times like I do, you can clearly see that a jar falls, hits the ground, and then rolls across the room. So she was in there, you know, 20 or 30 seconds before that happened. She got into the refrigerator, which is on the right side of the doorway, and the jar fell on the left. So she was nowhere near the counter on the left where that jar fell.
Yeah. We'll have to try to figure.
And she knew the positioning of it too. I don't know if they have pets.
Jenna, I was gonna say Jenna will be home soon. We'll see if Jenna can help us get that, so we can get it a better view.
But it was late at night. It was, they didn't have any friends over. Like I said,
pets.
They told me the setup, and they're not, you know, without someone being there, I don't know how you could fake that. They
didn't have pets. I don't think they have pets. Because I think I asked you.
I don't think they have. Yeah, but I'm not sure. Yeah. But they're again too. They're both educated, smart people. They would, because that's too something you don't see at the very end of the video. You see her go back into the kitchen to see what the hell it was.
Yeah.
Like within a few seconds of it happening. Like it's probably, I probably cut the video right where you see her walk back into the room. So
yeah,
you know. So I mean, if it was a pet, you know, they would have seen it in the kitchen. You know. Stuff like that. So here's another instance too. I you know, I want to show this to people. Like I really, okay, I went and did something stupid. I went and bought something this weekend that I bought a haunted doll, and I want to play for you the activity that we.
Do we know why they were taping? It was just like a security.
Yeah, they got a security camera that runs 24/7 in their house. You know, it might be based on motion, but she would have set it off with the motion, like if it records. But it's security system camera, And it was, say that sometimes things do fall on their own. Yeah, I agree, Don. Sometimes things do fall on their own for no reason. You know, a half an hour ago, you could have slid it over and not realized it right to the edge of the countertop. And then you walked in and, you got a joist that's a little wobbly or something in your house that shakes it. So you're right. Things, but in that hand could be a video glitch of some sort. But it looks to me though, like I said, on a bigger screen, it's clear like a hand comes in the doorway and goes like this, or actually keeps its thumb up and then goes like that. So, I don't know. That to me is all
Okay,
part
so
of it
back
too.
to your newest thing.
Okay, yeah. So I bought a haunted doll, and we did an investigation of it and came up with some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and show this little short video. This isn't very long, so bear with me again and check this out. I think this is pretty cool.
Oh my god, the ghost meter's going off. Okay, so we're investigating the doll. Someone gave this doll to me. They said it totally creeps them out, gives them a bad feeling. Oh my god. Is it the baby or is it the big one? Are you trying to talk to me? Come on. Make it go red. Did you belong to the little boy that they told me about? Is that a yes? Make it go red. Just everybody that gets around this doll just really feels creepy, both of them. So, what was that bump?
Are you in here with me? Okay. So in that video, we got a bump, we got K2 hits, and we caught an EVP. And that's just the first and only time that we've investigated. Don, the camera wasn't that close. I mean, 4 or 5 feet away. And you saw at the very end that I actually got closer to it and it didn't do anything. But I do have a confession to make that I 150% faked that. And here's how we did it. Because I'm going to set this up with this. About a week or so ago, maybe a little longer, somebody had a really, really expensive haunted item up for sale on Facebook. And this particular place has about 7 to 10 haunted items that go up for sale about every 10 to 14 days. So I totally believe that items can be haunted, and I do believe that there are haunted items. But I also think that if you buy them, you have to be really, really careful, because I don't know how, and here again, this is all my theory. I don't know the person. I don't know how they get them, but I don't know how you get 7 to 10 haunted items every 10 to 14 days. And the one that was expensive was claimed that it was a haunted item from a very popular, well-known haunted house story, the Amityville house. And that's probably too far. I shouldn't have gone that far for saying that, but I don't care.
Yeah. And I mean, even that one got me because I'm like, no.
There's absolutely no verification.
You can't, yeah, how can you verify something like that? But this happened when we did, and actually we did this almost 2 years ago. We did this thing, and then it's been more prone that we're seeing a lot more of these doll things. But we literally, the things that you're hearing, we actually the voices that you're hearing are actually someone that is upstairs, but in a completely like all the way across that. We were in the basement. They were upstairs and all the like a fairly good distance away. Plus all the doors were shut. So from room to room, all the doors were shut going through there, and we still could hear. We still got a little bit of them talking.
Because I was in the basement. It was funny because I thought as I was going over that, listening to it, I'm like, son of a bitch, this thing is haunted.
Yeah, and it was like, nope.
And I didn't pay for this, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, and yeah, they were dolls. They were it was a doll that my daughter had when she was little.
But it just looks like a haunted object. Like, I mean, I guarantee you, if I were to post that video and put that doll up, I could sell that thing right now for $75 or $80. And Don brings up a good point. There needs to be some kind of certification process for claims like that involve money, because, you know, like, but there again, what if you get something that you perceive to be haunted and your friend is one of those, you know, a friend that's a little bit sensitive, is the one verifying the claims on the item that you're putting in the description as haunted.
And how we did that, we basically used my cell phone to make the meters move. I just was standing there and texting on my phone.
Yeah, that's how we made it.
That's how we made everything.
I had my phone.
Yeah. I mean, it was really not that hard to make that stuff move.
We got to say, we got to take a break for a second. Say hi to Butch. We haven't seen Butch in a long time.
I know. Hopefully Butch is feeling better.
Yep. And Butch, you and I got to get together sometime soon. We got to do a on-camera interview for Maxwell. In fact, maybe that's a good time to play that. Butch, since you're in here now, I played it a couple weeks ago. I've tweaked it a bit. I'm going to go ahead and just play this little Maxwell teaser too, and then this will be the last.
Behind us.
We'll get back to the haunted items topic though, but I want to make sure while Butch is in here that he sees this. Dan.
Yeah, we told you we got those two little demons back there.
In the background. Yeah, they can be demonic. So, you know, this is a project I'm working on, Butch, and this is what I need to talk to you about because I want to get you for the next phase of it. So here we go.
I remember I turned around to Becky and the Saskatchewan. I said, one of them are going to die, and I'm not sure if it's going to be suicide or murder. These are not the same people that I remember.
Well, just as we're getting ready to where everything gets finalized, when all the stamps get put on everything, she goes, I've got something to tell you. A young man last July committed suicide in the home. Molly and I remember we were like, what the hell? No way, we've got the Amityville house. Like, it was like a joke. Usually they're preceded by loud crashes in the house.
Justin, if that's you, I need a louder clunk. Maybe turn the light on or shut a piece of equipment off. You guys don't hear the ticking? There we go. Thanks a lot, guys.
You got to fix your camera. It's out.
Just let it go. We're rolling.
This one?
Yeah, it's there's something in here. I'll give you a minute.
What I wanted to ask you about specifically today was you guys found a chicken foot on a voodoo board, is I think how you phrased it.
That's how we can describe it. I have a picture of the chicken's foot on my Facebook upload somewhere in there.
The guy probably wasn't smart enough to actually be able to do that, but he could have been fucking around with something he didn't know anything about.
Yeah, and when we looked through the house originally, there's still a lot of furniture and, books and stuff like that. There's a lot of books on Nazism, Nazi occultism. He leaned on the darker side.
Okay, Butch, so that's what we're working on. Obviously, you know what case that is. And Jerry brings up a good point that he says, man, that sounds a lot like Santa. Well, most people don't know this, but Santa is a paranormal investigator 364 days a year. So we all confirmed that last week.
Yep.
When we had him on. Dan brought up something good too, that, he's okay. Yeah. So we can't prove that ghosts are real. So how could we verify or certify an item to be haunted? I don't know that you're right. You could not. you couldn't certify that a ghost is haunted. You could maybe, I guess the item that I'm more pissed off about is the big dollar item that supposedly came from the Amityville house.
Yeah, because
you should have to certify somehow that
something
it came
like
from
this,
that house.
because what it is, I literally right now I could go to an antique store and pick up the exact same item that they're saying
Put it in a little dome
and
case.
put it in a dome and say it. I could say it was from. I could say almost any possibility. That
Same with all these dolls and objects and things like that. I mean, just because, let's say somebody comes across like a Nazi flag.
It's like, no, it's like going, it is like going to Gettysburg and finding a bullet and saying it's haunted. How do you know it's haunted?
And that's actually something Chris McKinnell was talking about last night. I was watching their show, is that, and I do think this can happen too, that like, and Adam, chime in on this one. Tell me if I'm accurate in this, but we have the ability to manifest something. So therefore, if I buy this lighter off of haunteditem.com and it comes with a paranormal claim and an attachment and this and that and the other thing, and I really believe that this item has that attachment that, the paperwork that came with it, says it has, I really think you can manifest that type of haunting in your house or in that item. Come on, Boo, don't hit the wires.
She's being determined to get my attention.
She's gonna tear down the computer.
Come here. She's wanting my attention.
Hang on a minute. God damn it.
Boo.
Well, we have no audio and stuff now.
Hold on one moment, guys.
Go. You have to go. Damn it. Go. Bubba, don't go through there.
Oh, Don says he can hear us.
Okay. So
okay, that's good. Gotta love the dogs because Boo has to have her attention. And
if these come unplugged, I'm like seriously screwed if information is lost. So she cannot go back there again.
Where's the stool behind you so
Bubba,
we can block
you
her?
can't either.
Can back you get me the stool that's behind you on the other side? Okay. All right. All right. So maybe we can block her that way.
Oh.
Boo's being
that could have been a disaster because I have my external hard drives plugged in and she knocked those off the top of the computer. And if those things get unplugged, they like to erase things. Bubba,
yeah, our puppies. Boo's having some issues. She's shedding like really bad. Her fur came in.
I need to scoot over.
Really different. So she's very needy right now.
So sorry about all that. But yeah, so like going back to the haunted object thing, like there's a lot of claims to when people buy these things that there's a demonic attachment to them. I personally don't think, are you not having headphones?
I can hear you still, so it's fine.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't think I have. I don't
well,
think
the volume might have got turned down.
But we're good.
Okay, the volume might have got turned down or something.
It's all right. I can still hear, so we're good. For right now, we're good.
Check.
Oh,
check.
that's much better. Okay. Oh,
so now that
no treats for Boo tonight.
So anyway, yeah, there again. So I don't think you're not going to live with demonic haunted objects in your house. I don't think. And
even though you would like to.
No, if somebody said they had a demonic item, I definitely would not. I'll take a haunted item from somebody. And I might even buy one if I could verify that it is what it is. But if it was demonic, I wouldn't mess around with that because that's not. Adam says, yes, you can put intentions into something that isn't haunted and create it to be haunted. Yeah, that's kind of what Chris was saying.
That's kind of like.
I think you can do that with your house too.
Okay. This kind of is back to the sensitive thing. And with me still growing with everything that I'm having, I have noticed if you have negative intentions, can get it so far that you can make that negative intentions happen to make it spread. So it's kind of the same thing. I mean, with the intentions of a haunted, I mean, if you believe it 100%, you can start making it so that, okay, so maybe, for instance, no, I better not use that. Maybe you have like a remote sitting here and it's just say this is sitting on a table. You're like, well, I know I'm seeing something. And because you believe so heartedly, like we said before, a vibration could have just went foomp, and then it's like, oh my God, it is. And then it just builds you even more and more and more, because that's how it is with negative intentions with but it's with positive intentions too. Energies work all different ways, but even with the haunted intention, it can be the same way. And it's just frustrating because people are being taken advantage of it. And I think that's what bothers a lot of us the most, is that people are getting they're being taken for. And it's like, I feel bad for those people that they can't realize that somebody would do that to them. And I mean, and ask for proof before spending it on it. It's like,
that being said too, though, maybe some of the people that are selling this stuff don't necessarily have, maybe they believe that they are selling haunted objects. So it's not, I just find it very, very hard to believe that you get a shipment of 7 to 10 haunted objects every 10 to 14 days. And
going to a house that's old and doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be something haunted in it. Just because it's an old house doesn't mean that there's haunted items in it. And that, I think, is kind of frustrating too. That it just irritates me that people get taken advantage. And people, if you can't prove, like, I'm not saying, okay, and I'm not saying, so if you have this item that was from Annieville, if you had something that documented that it was from that house, if you want to sell it and say it's haunted, go for it. But if you don't have that saying that is documented, it came from that place, then don't.
Yeah, but it's almost like a collector's autograph on a guitar.
Okay,
I mean, somebody can say, man, I got a autographed Jimmy Page Les Paul right here, and sell it. It's like, but there are verification processes for autographs.
Instance, Shawshank Redemption, you go to the prison. Now, say they were selling bricks from the part of the building. Now, I'm sure they're going to document where that brick was, and they're going to have it numbered, what brick and number it was. Then, okay, no problem. But because it's validated. But you have to be able to validate it somehow. And just saying it's from there is not validating it.
Dan, I'm not going to post that comment because that's really not what I'm talking about.
No.
I mean, it's not the purchaser, it's the seller.
So, yeah. But it's just the intent behind it, because it's like, it's so misleading.
Because I mean, like, seriously,
prove it. Just and I would not care if that person made $1 million for that item if they can prove that it came from there.
And Zach Baggins, I 1000% believe the objects that he has in his museum are for sure haunted. I mean, I think there's been enough proof done on a lot of them, but I mean, he definitely has haunted items in his museum. But but he's also, he's got the bankroll to, okay, you're saying that this is Dr. Kevorkian's van and I'm buying it from his son, or you know what I'm saying? Like, he's got the bank to verify that he's getting, the real object. So, in that demon house, he kept the staircase out of it and the dirt that was underneath it, because there was stuff buried under it. So anyway, it's in there again, I guess the warning is just be careful before you buy something that is claimed to be haunted, because people work hard for their money, and to spend money on something like that, it's nice to know that it is haunted.
I gotta get back into my Facebook somehow.
Slender Man became a mainstream thing after those teenage girls killed. Yeah. Yep. And they blamed it on Slender Man. And isn't there like people do that Bloody Mary ritual thing? Isn't there a ritual associated with the Slender Man too? Like something you can do to call it?
Yeah. There's I don't remember
Yeah,
what
I
it
don't know.
was.
The guy, his YouTube page is Live Sci-Fi. It's LIVE and then one word SCIFI. He does a lot of those like Bloody Mary things, and he's got a very he posts a lot of raw videos, so a lot of his videos will be 6-7 hours long. And Don, I'm not going to say that either because I don't want that damn thing appearing over my shoulder. But yeah, Candyman is another one. But that Live Sci-Fi show, it's pretty cool because he'll have just raw investigation footage. It's not produced. A lot of times it's just, he'll show you the whole session of a Ouija board, not necessarily the bad part. So, he's got a lot of stuff. But I think that, that guy definitely tramples on some darker stuff. He had about 3 episodes on Discovery Channel 3-4 years ago. It was called It Might Be Evil or something like that. I mean, it was, I don't know. They pulled the show very, very quickly, so nobody must have watched it, but or they caught him faking something. I don't know, but I don't even know the guy's name, but the YouTube page is Live Sci-Fi. He still does it, but he, like I said, he was on Discovery Channel for like 3 episodes or something like that. I thought it was a good show, but I don't know.
I remember seeing that one.
So since we got some people in here, and like I said, we are wrapping up this season of our live shows until the next year. What are some things that, chime in the comments. What are things that you guys want to view? Like, do you want to view us talking about topics, during research on specific things?
Listen to dog wrestling.
Yeah, listen to dog wrestling. Maybe we should film that, put that on TikTok, and then it'll get thousands of views.
You do have TikTok going.
Yeah, I know.
He
So,
gets mad
do you guys
the
like
dogs get more
topic
views.
shows? Should we have more like, I don't know, random people that really aren't, I don't want to say experts, but just average people on? Yeah,
random.
Boo versus Einstein. Don, that actually happened once.
Yeah.
And I don't think they were playing. I think they were puppies, and they were really, really trying to kill each other. But then we took Bubba and Boo over
and
there
they all
once,
got
and
along.
they were fine then. But man, when they were puppies, me and Harold were looking at each other like, should we be breaking this up? Like, I don't think they're playing.
Well, and Boo, this is funny. When Boo started going to daycare, which is my mom's house, with Bubba, it was funny because Bubba's brother Gordy and him used to wishbone her. She would be on her back, and one would have one leg and one would have the other leg, and they would run pull her, almost trying to pull her apart. And she actually she would go back and get more.
Yep.
She was
she was definitely
crazy.
beat in the gang. I mean, they got she was beat in. They kicked her butt. They used to
she
drag
was
her all over
roughhoused
the
in,
yard.
but she gave it right. She
Yeah.
wanted it and gave it
Yep.
right back.
She
so.
had her little hiding tree when she had to go hide under it because they couldn't get her under there. And then,
or she'd hide under the one couch. She would hide under because they couldn't get under there because they were so much bigger than her.
She'd take her little break and then she'd come out for more. She's a little scrapper. So Dan says we should have more local teams on. That's definitely something to look into because every person that I have on, I end up becoming friends with. Like, Miranda we had on.
Yeah.
And I'd seen her stuff before, but never I've never had anybody on that been like, boy, that was a mistake. I end up becoming friends with the people that we have on. Austin Menard from, he builds those, the boxes and things he was a cool dude. I'd love to have him on again. I'd love to chat with him. See, yeah, I've thought about that too.
That would be
That's a good
one.
idea, Carmen.
And I like even Sue's talking more about the people up in Detroit. Yeah, I wish there was one place for one person in Detroit we still could talk to, but there's a couple. I mean, we can probably find some other people up in Detroit to talk to. So
Sue, you don't remember who was talking about that? That was somebody in the comments, wasn't it? It was talking one night about that Swartz Creek that she was talking about. But that would be a good thing to do. Like another thing, I've always wanted to do this, and it's probably too late now, but I've always wanted to just talk to World War II veterans on video, get their stories on video. I don't know what I would do with it yet, but
you could make a veteran special about it.
There is a generation that is really close to, there's not too many World War II veterans left anymore.
But we could do a veteran special about that one.
Because I'd love to hear.
And do it for Veterans Day.
But we got to find, so if anybody knows a World War II veteran or something like that, go ahead and message me. I don't want to bug them, but like if you know somebody, I would love to get 4, 5, 6 people, on camera just to tell their stories, because like I said, it's, I should go to the VFW or something like that.
I was gonna
Duh.
say that would be a place to start, or the VFWs, or like we have several different posts here, like the VFW and the different things that you could even try, and they might be able to hook you up with.
Yeah, because the last guy at the last guy that was in the band of brothers.
Yeah,
he
just
passed away
recently
the other day, and it's
and Aaron.
It's so cool though that they got their story.
See, and Aaron, my daughter Aaron is a huge history buff, and she just, she loves World War II things anyhow. So
because anybody in World War II now would have to be in their 90s, right? 19, in the early 40s and they had to be 18 to join. So yeah, they got to be pushing 100.
Some of them weren't 18 though.
Yeah,
some of them were like 16, 17.
But even still, they're in their 90s.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so that would be that would be something Aaron would enjoy, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. And two, would you guys want to hear something not ghost related every once in a while? That'd be another question to ask, because I could do an episode on a mafia figure from Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, Butch is saying his dad, I'm assuming his dad was a veteran of World War II, and he said he would have been 101. So
yeah.
Or he's saying his dad was in the 101st. No, he's probably saying he'd been 101. So
yeah,
it's really, I think my shot, I should have done that 10 years ago. But you
still might find one, or even if you don't find World War II, you might find some older veterans that may not have been in that war, but know of some of the stories of them. That's something too, because you can find some with stories.
Dan, this is a good idea, because I've thought about this too, like having a
we have talked about
priest
that
on.
one.
I wanted to have like a Muslim. God,
I
don't even know what they call them, but the Muslim pastor.
Yeah, we did talk about having different types and just talking about the different religions.
The problem is, or not the problem, but my theory is that like a lot of pastors and priests, because it goes against the church and the Bible and all that other stuff, probably wouldn't consider talking about it unless they want. Like the pastor of the church that I used to go to, I thought about asking him to come on sometime, and him and I guarantee would get into an argument, not a nasty one or anything like that, but like he thinks, and this is how I thought for a long time too, but he thinks anything that is a ghost is a demon imitating like a loved one or something like that, because he believes that there are no such things as
your granddad would have been
yep. See, that's fortunately I got 3 grandpas, and they were all in World War II. 2 of them were in the Navy, but that generation, they didn't talk about it much. Grandpa did a couple times, my mom's dad, and talked about a few times when the kamikazes were, because he was in the Pacific in the Navy, going after him, they were shooting him down. It's like that. God, if someone's that's like trying to shoot missiles down that are coming at you, that smart missiles, because they can move. And that would be totally crazy.
I like Dan's idea.
Don.
Why do I keep getting Don and Dan today? You guys are.
I definitely got to go back to these comments. Yeah, actually, Dan's up there saying he wants to have Ozzy, and I would love to have Ozzy Osbourne on, or Jack Osbourne.
There's this one guy that's on. Okay, I will work on this one for this one guy that works for a coroner. I will work on him. He's on TikTok, and he's one of the guys I follow. I will work on that one to see if I can get him to come on, because I think he would be a trip and a half to have on. So I will work on that one for a coroner.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my union break here real quick, but
go figure.
But Jerry was in charge of the honor flights. That would have been
cool.
That would have been awesome to do, because that's where they flew the veterans. They people donate money and stuff, and they would fly them
because the girls, the high school they went to, their high school was the first awarded the first Purple Heart that they did for students donating to do the honor flight, and they actually because Washington Local puts on some amazing programs for the veterans, and so they had done multiple things. And I know the one year, Erin, if Erin's in here, she might not be anymore. I believe they actually they did a scholarship or donated something, and so but every year for the veterans, for every sport, they always had a veterans night. And but it was kind of an exciting thing because they would always raise money for anything for veterans. They always were raising money. And that was one of the big things they did, was being the first Purple Heart school. And ever since then, they still raise money for that, which is pretty cool. Let's see if Jeff left me here. So Don says, if not ghost stories, maybe facts about what happens when a body dies or what they see. That's what this guy kind of goes over on TikTok. I can't even remember his name, but he's one of them that I watch in the middle of the night when I can't sleep. And he's like hysterical because he'll tell you about like processes of what happens with the body the processes when somebody dies. He tells you all kinds of stuff and like funny stories about what happens.
Tell you what Chris McKinnell said last night about the experiment that he wants to do. Not to interrupt, but
okay.
Remind me when I come back. So
it's just funny because he does talk about a lot of that stuff, and because I'm in the medical field, so it cracks me up when I hear this stuff because I've had some. I remember when I was younger, I had walked into this is at the old UTMC when it was still in the process of being MC. It was still MCO changing over to UTMC. I literally was stationed there. And we literally one time had to walk into the morgue, and when you walk down, it was like a bad experience because when we walked in there, it's like we turned in and we walked into a bunch of dead bodies. So I just had, so morgue stories are always kind of crack me up because and actually we used to drop bodies off at the coroner's office too. So that used to always be interesting. Never was a fan of transporting dead bodies, but occasionally we would have to do it. So that would be, I think the coroners, but that's something we could do too, is maybe get a couple, emergency or nurses or people that work in the ER, because I'm sure ER people have tons of stories, or people that work on psych units. I'm sure they'd have some fun, interesting stories as well.
Okay. I got a couple morgue stories too.
Okay.
So we were painting at a funeral home in Bluffton,
Ohio, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Years ago. And there's that room that says, do not enter, keep door closed. There's all these signs on this door. And it was the hallway from the garage to it was the back part that people didn't go into, but we had to go through there because we were painting there. And, one day I'm walking through the hallway and that door is open. So of course I have to look because you always want to know what's behind the door that says do not open, blah, blah, blah. And there's a dead guy laying on the table. And I went to my supervisor and I'm like, dude, we got to get the hell out of here. There's a dead person in here. I can't work here. It just freaked me out.
Well, and I've told you how many places okay. I don't know what it is, but when you work as an EMT, I don't know why it is the people that decide where they're going to put locations for EMTs. And now, grant you, I know part of the reason why they do this is because the garages are great places to put ambulances. But I cannot tell you how many stations that I had been at that were old funeral homes. Mm-hmm. And every single one of them always creeped me out. And there was one on East Side. I absolutely hated being there. And every time I got stationed there, I just hated it because it creeped me out because you could still see stains on the floor and everything. And it was just I just didn't like it. But then.
No, Dan, he was dead.
But then I didn't have any problem. I worked at the Old Mercy Hospital. And that place, that's haunted. And I had crazy stuff happen to me there. And I have no problem working there. That way, I was a pleasant energy that I had that really came to me there. But I'm just any of the funeral homes, I absolutely hated it. It was dread. Creepy and dread. And it just,
Another story from that same funeral home when we were working there, they had a funeral for a baby.
Oh.
And they, for some reason, they had the microphone on in the speakers because they said it's going to be a small thing. You guys can still paint in this one area. But they had the speakers on into that room from the room that the funeral was being. God damn, dude, I wanted to kill myself after I left that. I was so fucking depressed. Oops, sorry. Because all you could hear was the mom crying and them talking about this little baby. And I'm just like, Jesus, turn that off. Like
that happened
was
to me
horrible.
after I lost, because I lost my son when I was 6 months pregnant. And then there was somebody at the church I was going to at the time. There was somebody that was one of the members, and they lost their child that was 3 months old, a little boy that was 3 months old. I went to the visitation, but I really had I couldn't, because that just really that one
that was the worst.
Really hit me hard. But to see that 3-month-old baby, that hit me hard, just because I mean it was it was still a really hard time.
Have you ever seen anybody? And we had a family member that I'm sure my dad knows. It's one of the aunts on my grandma's side, not the Schlachter side, but the Allen side. He probably knows who I'm talking about. But she had one of those books. She would take pictures of people in the casket, and she had a book of every. She didn't get one of my mom because I wouldn't let her. I said, you're not taking her picture. I'm like, I'm not against that, or I'm not about that. You're not doing it.
Well,
but she had there's a lot of people in this book, dead people in the casket.
In the olden
that's a
days,
weird thing to break out of a family
people used to
reunion.
take pictures of dead. I mean, they would sit them up and dress them, and they would be dead people. So, I mean, that's what they would do. It's so well, and you figure though, people used to have the visitations in their homes.
Yeah. Yep.
And so
I think you're right, Don. It's a Southern thing, and my family has roots in the mountains of Tennessee. So,
but yeah, I mean,
that's probably where she got it
there's
from.
like a lot of, maybe that's something rituals about death things, and that like death and.
Yep. See, I wouldn't mind having like a witch on, or one of the ideas, Carmen, you and I will talk about that tomorrow, because, Carmen's mom is sensitive, but I don't know if Carmen's grandma's still around. Do you know?
Carmen?
I think their whole family is sensitive.
Carmen can answer that question.
I mean, that might be a cool thing if we could set that up, because
to have a couple generations on.
Yeah.
Because even Carmen's daughters are sensitive.
Yep. Boy,
so that would be interesting.
That could be a show that I could just sit back and watch. Rubbing a wart on a dead person will get rid of the wart. So I've heard.
No, she's not. But even if we could even do like Mom, Carmen, and one of the
Carmen,
daughters.
how old's your mom? I mean, roughly. You don't have to give exact age, but I mean, it's got to be in her 60s, I would think, at least. Unless she had Carmen when she was really, really young. I don't know. But I just read the first part of Don's. Okay, 75. Okay.
So she's around my mom's age.
Yes, maybe Carmen, see if she'd be willing to come on and talk about some
that would be an
ghost stories and some mediumship stuff. And so in the old days, it was expensive to get a photo, and you had to be really still. So when someone died,
But I mean, it's like really weird. Some of them I've seen, they actually, it's like you have little kids and they're like acting like they're playing with this other person in there. And I'm like, I understand, like back then that was probably, but nowadays when you hear that, you're just kind of like,
Well, that going back to like one of the first things we talked about, that video clip that I showed. So people were saying, do you know the family and this and that and the other thing? Well, they have a 5-year-old son that says his room is getting too crowded.
Yeah.
Now, 5 years old.
And saying your room's getting crowded, that's something.
Too old to really be having that imaginary friend.
Yeah.
And so when your 5-year-old is saying that the room is too crowded, and they come from a big family, and they've had a lot of family members pass away when they were young. Like, I mean, there was a lot of kids. And so it would be the little kids. Well, they've got one that probably has, since I talked to them, but I don't know for sure. But I mean, it's a big family, and you're going to have deaths, but there was quite a few young ones, and they think that maybe they're floating around from house to house and checking up on people. And that's what I don't want to give away who it is, but yeah, when your 5-year-old is coming up to you and saying,
It's getting
yeah,
too
Mom,
dark.
it's getting a little crowded in my room. Like, okay, what's going on here? So, I mean, that's what I said. They're not into the paranormal shows. They're not into the ghost hunting thing at all. But things are going on in their house, and they're just like, what the heck is that? They don't think it's bad or evil or anything. They think they know which family member it is, because the things that are going on at the house is stuff that he would have done when he was alive. And I knew him when he was alive, and he absolutely would have thrown a jar down just to, hey, I'm here just so you know, boom, and knock something over. That's kind of how he was. So, well, it's been an hour and 6 minutes. I'm definitely going to have to go through the comments and write down these ideas, because
There's some pretty good
ideas
ones
of some
in there.
shows. I asked Jerry the other day too, like some show ideas, because obviously we're not going to score guests every week. And I don't want to have, we just had Chris McKinnell on. He said he'd be on again, but I want there to be a cushion in between there.
Yeah.
I don't want to have.
We're trying to break it up so we don't always have a back to back real big name come on with us, or somebody that's.
But I think that Living Life in Full Spectrum, that lady is going to be on after the first of the year, and I mean that's a cool guest. That's a lot of people in this area read her stuff.
And then we have
Bishop James Long is the guy that I was trying to remember
Miranda's better
Yes,
half.
yep.
She's from the jail. She'll be on with us too next year.
Yeah, they run the Scott County Jail. It's down in Tennessee, and but both of those two ladies are very, very smart in how they approach the paranormal investigation stuff. And we had Miranda on, and I want to have Chris on.
Yeah, so we'll
which
have
is
her
their partners in that, owning that.
And
Scott County
we'll
Jail.
have her later on, but we're going to try to spread it out so it's not.
Yeah, because
like
I don't want to
bam,
have
bam,
Miranda
bam, bam,
on
bam.
and then Chris on the next week. And I mean, I kind of want to, but I also
Kinda
too.
did it this past time, but it was like we wanted to get those names out there. But next time we're going to try to space it out much better. But so we need to have some interesting topics to go on in between.
Yep.
And because then we're going to also be starting to work, so this becomes podcast as well.
Yeah, it's
that's
a
what we're
matter
trying
of
to
I've
work
got to
on, too.
convert it, and I've got to clean up the audio a little bit because I don't like how they sound necessarily. So some of the later ones have been better than the earlier ones, but
You're right.
I probably screwed up. I probably should have started that this week with the Krampus episode.
Well, but if we start,
maybe next year we'll put that
start
on around
fresh
Christmas
off
time.
in the new year, start it off again. So
And I do want to.
that gives you a few weeks.
I have a website that I want to update, fix, whatever, get it usable, because there's a lot of times I want to write stuff too. So
yeah, we did learn, so we should be getting better about posting stuff on Boo Productions on Facebook as well, because I have learned now I can pre-post. I used to not be able to do that for our pages, but for groups you could, but now we can do it for pages. So I'm like, this will save me, because I can do like a whole month's worth of posts, or like at least have 1 or 2 posts a day, so that we'll have some idea. But then also when we have our shows, I can pre-post, like as soon as I know who our guest is, I can pre-post those all the way like a month in advance, so that will be a plus.
Yeah, but then you've got to get your scheduler to schedule things a month in advance.
That's what you're going to have to do. Yes.
Yeah.
And I will stay on them for that.
But
one.
no, it really is like Jen and Joe from 222. I don't know how they come up with all the guests that they come up with, but I think they've done it long enough. He's got a pretty good Rolodex.
Well, and I think once we get back into going to the conventions a lot more, we'll be able to start picking up people then too. It's just hard because conventions aren't they're starting to get back into the swing of things. I mean, we went to one convention this year.
Yeah. Yep.
And so next year we'll have to get back on the list of doing some more, which that will help is once we can get back on doing.
But that can be a bad thing too, though. There was here again, I got to be careful because I don't want to out anybody. But there was a guest on their show in one of their episodes that I was told he thought about. No, I'm not going to say that part. But this guest, literally thinks that he is the guy that crosses people over to the light.
Yes,
basically, he claimed to be God without being God. And I listened to the episode, and if you guys ever listen to that show and you hear this episode, you'll know, you'll be like, oh, that's the one he was talking about. But Joe is definitely a lot nicer to this guy than I would have been, because I would have a couple minutes in, I would have been, now wait a minute. So you're telling me that you're God? I would have.
But you have confrontation. That's part of
Yep.
talk shows.
But see, and I'll respect, right. And I think that actually makes for a good show.
Mhm.
Now, there are certain people I wouldn't do it to. Like, I mean, there's
Are haunted items?
like Chris McKinnell. There's things that he believes that I totally don't believe.
Right.
But he at least has
He can actually
solid argument to back it up
substantially
with.
back what-
Right. And I'm sure I believe in stuff that he doesn't believe in. And that's great. But him and I can have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
But if Chris McKinnell were to come on my show and tell me that he's God,
Yeah.
we're going to have a little conversation about that.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I think we need to find some guests that we can have that maybe we should have some differences and be able to. As long as we can discuss it. And
I've definitely thought about a couple guests that, I mean, it would be fireworks, it would be battle, it would be maybe not even airable on Facebook, because I don't know if I can control my tongue.
I would make you control your tongue.
Because there's a couple people that just get me.
Yeah, that I think. See, this is my theory. Sometimes behind this, he wanted to do the show with me because he knows I'll just be like, and keeping him in check.
Because I thought about this, and this is not my original idea. Somebody said this, but this would be a great idea if you were to have a paranormal series or show about the drama that goes on in Toledo. You would have to somehow work with all the teams to get. But I mean, I'll tell you what, people would watch the shit out of that thing. That would be gold.
I bet we would get coverage. People from all over the country would watch us.
What if God really did go on a podcast to make an announcement and no one believed it? Well, okay. This guy, he never called himself God, but he claimed to have the attributes of God. But he also said a whole lot of crap that conflicted with what God says, through the Bible. Like it was, dude, trust me. Yeah. Don, you're right. Toledo groups are like the mafia. I mean, personally, I haven't been involved in any of that crap in a while, and thank God. But I mean, maybe I just don't see it because I don't follow a lot of the people that are usually involved. But like, I think it's toned down in Toledo. I don't think it's near as bad as.
Well, okay, because I am newer to.
You were definitely not around in
I'm
the
like,
good old days.
I was like, yeah, because I am newer to the paranormal
that shit
side
was
of it.
nasty for a while.
So, I think I came in at after everything started calming down a little bit, I think, and so I haven't. Though I will remember going to one location. It was the first time I had ever been to anything, and I was like the talk of the thing. I was the talk of the place. Because nobody knew who I was.
Yeah.
They were trying to figure out who I was and couldn't figure out who I was and couldn't figure out why I was where I was at and why I was with who I was at. And so, I mean, I think for like the next 3 times I had gone anywhere, it was the same thing trying to figure me out. And so, but then then they realized I was like, there was like, oh, she's part of Tokes. And then it was just like, okay.
But see, I have come to a place now where, like I said, I don't want any part of any of that crap anymore. So I've definitely come to a place where I just like, there are certain people that I will be polite to, and there are some that I will not be polite to, but I won't be nasty to. I just won't acknowledge that you're even standing there.
And so for me, because I am newer, I don't know who everybody is yet. So everybody makes fun of me because I don't know. I'll be talking to, I'm just nice. And I'll talk to people and they're like, do you know who you're talking to? I'm like, yeah, I think. And then they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. But I'm like, well, I was just nice.
Yeah. But it's like I said, it's toned way down, at least from what I know. I mean, it could be going on like crazy and I don't know about it, but but it was funny to me that off camera, we were talking with Miranda. And okay, so we're all the way up here in Toledo, and I'm not going to go into the details again, but like people in Tennessee have heard about the Toledo stuff. They've heard about this shit show.
It was surprising when she was talking to us. She goes, oh, yeah. And we're like, oh, we were just like, we were like stunned about some of the stuff she had told us. Cause we're like, wow, you guys know about that in Tennessee? It was like,
yep.
Okay.
And Don, I'm going to tell you this too, because you guys can read his comment, but he's right. Like, Don is one of those people. Joe is another one that comes to mind right off the bat. Like, you guys just you guys talk to everybody, even though that I don't like one person and one person doesn't like me and this and that and the other thing. But you guys just want to investigate ghosts, and that's really what it's all about.
See, that's how I guess because I'm fresher to it's just like, I just want to know that I'm just curious about how everybody else investigates and what they think about certain places in that, because I am a lot newer, and so that is my approach to it. I did not take the 101 ghost hunting 101 classes or anything,
but you've sat through enough of Harold's
I've sat through enough of them now, so I know and
it.
Harold gives me lectures all the time. Well, not really lectures, but he tells me stories all the time, and but I'm finding that I learn more by ghost hunting with different people than I do. So I think going
Harold
with other
too,
groups is the same way, because like
Harold will push you into places that you're not comfortable with.
And Harold has,
but he won't
done that.
push you into a place that you're in danger. In anything that he pushes you into, and he's done it to me a lot of times, there's a reason why he's doing it.
Yep.
There's no malicious intent behind it.
Yep.
It's a really good thing. But Harold is the first guy that will jump into. If you get
one time that Harold knew he had pushed me too far. But but
in the end of the day, did he push you too far? I mean, he pushed you to the limit.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I think because it was still a fresh thing with me with him. And I think the one time I think he felt bad that he pushed me as far as he did, but I think he realized I dealt with it, but I think he realized that he pushed me just a little.
But there again, I mean, that's important to he almost pushed you into that situation in a controlled environment, in the fact that there were people around watching.
Right.
So if you've got problems, boom, we're there to help. Whereas, what if you got into that situation by yourself? So now you know kind of how to handle it, because
well, and then this is the thing too. By me, because this is weird that I had never investigated with Butch, Harold before, until this one time we did one investigation together, and that was like the best thing for me, because to go investigate with Butch and Harold, and actually Joe was with me as well, which was the first time I had ever investigated with Joe. I've done some things with Harold and Butch, and I've actually done a little bit of investigating with Butch, but really, never.
Since I've been around, I have not seen Harold investigate that much. He's always the producer of the investigation, not producer like film wise, but just running everything.
Just their old style of. I learned so much in one night between those three men. I learned so much more about how to do investigations differently than what I was doing, because I didn't really have my own approach. Now they have given me a different approach, but I also know how to tie in some of my sensitivity to those approaches. And I think it's going to be much for more the newer investigations that we're going to be doing. It's going to be very interesting to see how those outcomes come, because I have not, like I said, but then again, Harold did push me to those limits.
But you've been fortunate too, that in me as well, I have not been in the field as long as a lot of other people, but I have been on a lot of investigations, and I have been around people that have been doing it for years. And I've got really, really good experience in the stuff that I've been involved
But
in.
I've also had the opportunity to be able to learn to investigate a lot differently than some people would, just by having the experiences that I've had.
Yep.
I know how to investigate a totally different than most people would normally investigate now, which helps us, because now when we do investigations in that, it does really help. But like I said, and as Dan said, it is nice to see and watch different people's approaches, because you can pick up things. Like I said, in one night, I learned so many different things. I'm like, oh, And I mean, I actually took mental notes, and then I actually came home and actually put them on my phone.
Yeah.
So I had those notes in there, like, nope, I need to try this. I need to do this. And I mean, so I, from 3 guys, and one night, I learned so many different approaches to doing investigations.
So here's I said, remind me to tell the story about. So last night I asked a question about, I asked Chris McKinnell, I watched their show, and I typed in the comments, I said, if you could do one experiment in the paranormal spectrum, what would it be? And this was his answer. This would be freaking awesome, but no one would ever let him do it. He wants to perform or be involved in an exorcism being performed on somebody that's in an MRI machine.
Ooh.
Like that would be but
tricky.
But he thinks too that, like, and this is probably true, whatever, because demons are very, very powerful. And he really, I mean, you're destroying millions of dollars of equipment.
Yeah,
potentially.
there's a lot of energy in there.
But that would be really,
that
really
kind of gave me the chills, because that would be very interesting from the medical side of it to see that, because I mean, I've seen MRI. I've actually seen an MRI in someone that has had, like, in the middle of having a stroke, and that's crazy.
Yeah.
But to see that would be
because
very
I mean,
interesting.
Okay, so the church that I used to go to, the pastor actually cast a demon out of somebody, and he gives enough details in the story. It's like, okay, yeah, you were not dealing with somebody that was having a seizure or something. Like, this was, like, he described, like in the movie The Exorcist, like body parts went into positions that you cannot do. You cannot physically do that. And to, like, see that in an MRI machine or an X-ray machine or something like that would be, if you could see the bones contort, man, that would be wild.
Yeah, it would just be so hard, because it's almost near impossible to be able to do that, because if you have to restrain that person doing it, there's not going to, the way those machines are set, there's no way.
Yeah, because you can't move in them.
Well, you can't move, right. And so it would be so hard to do, and the way you would have to physically restrain them, you would have to have people actually helping to restrain them, and there's no way, even in an open MRI, there's no way you'd be able to do that.
Yep.
It would be a very interesting, but
I think maybe in an X-ray you could, because that's like a snapshot of whatever position you're in.
Yeah, but you don't
have to be as still.
No, you still have to be still for X-rays. Yeah. Even CT scans, all of them, you have to be those. Yeah, it would be very hard.
Yes, go ahead, share. Brad Wolf is a new viewer, I believe.
Yep, I've not seen that one.
Dan, you're not going to die, so let's not even talk about that shit. I'm going to die before you. I got dibs. Okay, thanks for that, Brad. Peace out, brother.
What did he say?
It's something stupid. Troller.
Yep.
I think sometimes naturally. Yeah, Don, I agree with you there. I mean, there is a lot of stuff, and that's, okay, so going back again to Chris McKinnell, and he's not like, I'm not, worshiping whatever. I'm not into that kind of fandom or anything like that. But like, the church, and that's why they go through great lengths before they'll actually do an exorcism. Like, they got to have solid proof that there is demonic activity going on. And that doesn't mean that the proof that they're provided is always demonic, but in most cases they rule out medical conditions, psychological conditions. But there again too, I'm still a believer in the fact that, like, just because you have psychological problems doesn't mean that you're not. I think you're actually a little more open to being possessed or have an attachment or something bad. Yeah. Like I really think you're more open to it. I think drug users because I mean, and let's say it's not demonic per se, it just be a negative attachment, but I mean, there's nothing positive going on in the drug world. So you're surrounded by negativity all the time. You're surrounded by thieves. You're lying, you're cheating, you're stealing, you're doing all this shit to pay for your habit.
Homeless people too, because a lot of them have mental issues. Same thing. They say, I mean, a lot of times they'll say that they see something or see something right next to them, and people are like, yeah, whatever, they're crazy. They honestly probably do see somebody next to them.
Yeah, Jerry's right. We're
I know.
$1.50 in, and he said, yeah, it's probably gonna be a short show. No, I don't know.
We've been
There's
consistent with viewers too,
Yep.
so apparently
a lot
everybody
of
likes
times
what
too.
they're-
Yeah, they're definitely dropping off now.
Yeah,
but I mean,
now, but-
it's I don't know. Sometimes too, even if we go along and nobody watches, it's still good practice because I'm still learning how to do this. And but Jerry is right. We probably should wrap it up. We definitely got some ideas for next year. Like I said, we're gonna do some guests. We're gonna do more topic stuff, and I want to have more average people on that have
Well, we
stories
did
to
say
tell.
a couple times we wanted to have some
Yep.
of our viewers. Or,
And I know Shelly is going to be on, but what
Shelley-
we'll have to do is arrange it to where, like, say we've got Shelly on for a 20-minute block, and then we've got
maybe Rachel would
Rachel
be able
on
to,
for a
she's
20-minute
a
block or something
Wiccan,
like
so
that.
she
Yep.
was she does the Wicca stuff,
Yep.
so she might be interesting to
Spe-
do.
Speaking of Wiccans, I was talking to your mom the other day. She wanted to borrow my witchcraft book.
This is funny.
She's like, I just want to read it to, find out what they're all about. But she's afraid to read it because she's afraid she's going to actually accidentally perform a spell on somebody. So
So I don't know if that's good or bad.
well, we got one fan. That's good.
Well, that's good. Do a round table discussion show with multiple guests. That's
I would like to do that.
and do
I thought
random.
about
And
that.
know what we should do?
How many people can we have on here? I think we can have like 8 people in
But
this.
know what we could do with that? We could do it random. So we actually have you come on, and then the ones you tell us, we'll have a drawing. Everybody that wants to do it, we'll have a drawing, and we pick maybe like 3 or 4 people, and then we just do a random.
I don't know. It'd be cool to have, like, say, Butch and Harold, and some other
Yeah.
seasoned investigators,
But I'm
people
just
that we
saying,
all
just do
know.
it random though with some of our viewers though too.
But just because I mean,
Yeah.
Don knows the topics and that we discussed at the class. But I mean, some of that stuff, a lot of that was not
Bring together all the
factual. Yeah, we could do. Don, that's a okay. I gotta post that comment. That's a good idea. I've thought about doing that. That would be great. First of all, we'd have to have contracts and promises that no one would kill anyone after the
That
show.
one would take us a while to make sure, because we would have to make sure. I mean, we literally would have to write out contracts and have everybody sign those before we could do that. Aaron's like, bring the dogs
Yeah.
back.
Because
Before
I
we
mean, I'll
leave,
be
we'll
honest
bring
with
the
you.
dogs back.
There's a couple people that there's a couple that I don't even think I could even talk to.
Yeah.
But there's one that I'm telling you, if I have this person on my show, it's going to be this immediately.
I
Because
will
I have-
be like, I will have to have a whistle for that show.
Yeah, because I will not respectfully talk to somebody that's just going to come out of the gate and give me shit for something that's not even true or whatever. So that's anyway, that's a good idea for a show though, Don. But anyway, we will bring the dogs, I guess, in real quick
Aaron
for
wants the
Aaron's sake,
doggies.
since
Styles, come here.
she don't even like ghosts
Boo,
and
come
she
here.
watched unless she just joined. I think she just joined. I think she
No,
muted
she
us for a
was
while.
watching.
I know,
Come
but I
here.
think she'd left for a while.
Come here, Boo. Boo.
No, Jerry, they're
Come on.
definitely not.
Up, up, up. There's Boo. Oh, you missed her. Come here.
That's
Come
the thing. I think it's really hard to
Come on here.
actually make money doing paranormal stuff.
Come on. There she is. Come here.
There's a little boo
There's
dog.
Boo.
Oh, we gotta erase the comments.
There's Miss Boo. All her chubbiness right now because she's got all her blubber or flubber.
Yeah, she
Huh.
does. She's got
You
like
got your
whale skin.
flubber.
Like she's not gaining weight, but her skin got thicker.
In the
Weird.
wintertime, she gets so much weight, so
Yep.
she's like all chubs. Okay, now we gotta get Bubba's. Come here, Bubba. Styles, come here.
Where did he go? No, he's laying down. He's like,
You want a
"Screw you
treat?
guys." He's like, I don't want to be on TV. I was
Oh,
already
we'll
on
come up
TV
for this.
once.
Here she comes.
We're gonna do the dogs, and then we're definitely leaving. Oh, there's the bubbies.
Okay.
Boo, you're a
Boo,
little
you
fat
go
head
that
somewhere.
way. Okay,
Here,
here,
Boo.
Bubba's. Come on, up, up, up. There's
Oh
Bubs.
boy.
There's the Bubbas. Hey, Aaron, did you guys so how much damage was done over in your area? Aaron is not from this area. She
lives in Nebraska.
She lives in Nebraska. She did just join again for the dog
And
content.
she's got. Yeah, see, I knew that because she bailed for a while. I can see the numbers. Don started an OnlyFans page. You got one fan. That's better than I got on my OnlyFans page.
Your tree branch, is it by where Maggie likes to go?
Is it a big tree branch or is it like a little 2-footer? So they're not a regular Don. They just, watch every once in a while. So, all right, people, it's been a good year. This was definitely one of my goals to do. I've always wanted to do a podcast or a live show or both. And so that's one thing I checked off the list this year. Like I said, that Maxwell story, we're full bore going ahead with that. We still got some stuff I got to film next. I don't think Butch is still in here, but I'm definitely going to reach out to him because I want to talk to Don. That is just wrong, dude. Oh my God. He's talking about his OnlyFans page and his mom is the fan. So let's erase that before we get kicked off Facebook, for Christ's sake. All right. Thank you all again for watching, and we will talk to you next year. We might do another little, we like to pull out the drinks and go live every once in a while, random. So,
and we have a lot of holidays.
We usually have
a
pretty crazy New Year's event because we got a birthday.
Basically, the party the celebration started this week and continues on now to the end of the year.
Yep, this is where we see the in-laws your family every other day.
Yeah,
we have some kind of party for the next 3 weeks.
We decided that in our family, that December was the best time to have no babies, because we have from yesterday on till.
I just can't wait for pierogi.
For December, we have 3 birthdays. From now until Christmas, we have from yesterday to Christmas, we have 3 birthdays. Then we have, of course, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. Then we have New Year's Eve, and Jeff just wants the pierogies. That's all he wants. He doesn't pierogies and kielbasa. That's it. So.
Yep, I will be fat. So. All right. See y'all next year.
Have a good holiday season and everybody be safe.
Goodbye. We're definitely going to have new graphics and things like that next year too.